So it's official. My wife is divorcing me. She said she couldn't be with a Trump supporter.
No, because I want you to hear me when I say with my full fucking chest, if you voted for Donald Trump, I want you out of my life.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the MAGA FAFO season. Well, sometimes your choices at the ballot box can cost you more than you imagine. Another MAGA Trump supporter is being divorced by his wife because he voted for Trump. Thank you very much for choosing us today. If you're new to this channel, kindly like the video, subscribe, and drop me a comment at the end of this segment. Well, we all know that politics can sometimes divide the communities we live in. It can sometimes break up friendships, but most of the time, we don't think of politics breaking up families. This is the story of a Latino man who is getting divorced by his wife just because he voted for Trump and he voted against his wife's women's rights. And his wife isn't having none of that. Well, when it was the season of the campaigns, it was Latinos for Trump. Now, it's the season of finding out. And many of these Latino MAGAs are in tears now. Guys, I have a lot of videos compiled for you. I want us to check this story out. I'm gonna be back with more commentary after this.
My wife is divorcing me. She said she couldn't be with a Trump supporter.
Well, I got nothing to say right now. Please continue.
Told me I have it till the end of the day to get my shit out of the house, get all my things. She's changing the lock. She doesn't want me back. She said she's taking the kids away from me. Yeah. I don't know what to do.
Listen, I'm never going to celebrate like a family being broken up. You know, him saying she's going to take his children from him, etc. That sucks. But to be clear, for situations like this and situations where people have like cut off family members, it's not because they're a Trump supporter. Like him being a Trump supporter is not the reason. Him being a Trump supporter is one of the symptoms of the reason. It's like a byproduct. I looked through some of his other stuff. One, to make sure this wasn't like satire, and it seems, unfortunately, it's not. But two, like in it, he had another encounter with someone where he was in his yard doing yard work, listening to a conservative podcast. Someone allegedly came by and said something. I think that's sort of what the problem is here. It's that his morals don't align with hers. He is absorbing these voices and these opinions and these ideas that are greater than just Donald Trump. There's a commonality of people who think and act that way. People who think certain ways about women, for example. People who have sort of like more chauvinistic or misogynistic ideals also being Trump supporters. I'm willing to bet it's that. But him believing that she left him just for being a Trump supporter is a lot like a doctor telling you you have lung cancer and then telling everyone, I'm dying from a cough. This cough is killing me and I'm going to die. The cough is a symptom. It's a byproduct of the thing that is killing you. Like the expression, the straw that broke the camel's back, it doesn't mean a single straw broke a camel's back. It means it was the final one out of millions of them that became too much to bear. You supporting Trump was the straw, but it was just one of the many that were the symptoms of the real sickness.
So I just saw a video of a Latino man who voted for Trump, and now his wife divorcing him with 4 kids. She told him before he voted for Trump, if you vote for Trump, I'm gonna leave you. He thought it was a fucking joke. He thought it was a game. She was explaining to him why not to vote for Trump and what's gonna happen to her, but he didn't care. It's 47 all day for him. Now he on social media crying like a bitch. Tell me, what are you gonna do? What you gonna do? You gonna go out there and you gonna marry a MAGA, a Trump supporter. It's that simple. See, everybody don't understand voting for Trump, what it really means to other people besides just you. So you gave up your whole family, you gave up all your wife rights to vote for Trump, and she left your ass. She left your ass, and I'm happy for her because you're a fucking dummy anyway. But don't get on this social media crying and begging about what you gonna do. You gonna move on with your life, because evidently she didn't mean that much to you when you went in that voting booth and voted for Trump. I've been seeing a lot of stories like this of people leaving their husbands who voted for Trump, and I don't blame them at all. Your values are not their values. But don't bring your punk ass on here crying, talking about what you gonna do. You made your bed and you go lay in it with MAGA, cause nobody gonna want you if they know you voted for Trump anyway. So just stick to MAGA, and she gonna move on. Now she's single. Now she gonna be happy. For a fucking vote. You voted for nothing and you lost everything. Y'all stupid.
Well, if it isn't the consequences of your own actions. Advice needed. I voted for Trump. My wife sent divorce papers. What do I do? I don't know. You probably shouldn't have voted for a man who hates your wife. I didn't know it was possible to be served divorce papers this quickly. Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. I don't even know what to say. I'm shocked I married somebody willing to throw away our entire life over politics. Last week we were happy. Today we're getting divorced. She won't have a discussion. She says nothing will change her mind. Insists she is going to report my parents because they live off of disability, but my dad does some cash work auto repair. She wants me to buy her out of the house. We have $300,000 in it plus built a 4-bay garage since we bought it 3 years ago. I can't afford that. Should have thought about that before. When I told her as she was packing her things, she said, I guess you're finally going to really know how it feels to be fucked by a Democrat. ETA, her name is on the deed but not the mortgage. I'm not confident that I can reason with her. What do I do? Where do I start? How do I fix this? Is anybody else experiencing this in the wake of election results? I sure as shit hope so. And I wish your ex-wives a lifetime of happiness.
No, because I want you to hear me when I say with my full fucking chest, if you voted for Donald Trump, I want you out of my life. Because at a base level, I don't care for friends. I don't care for family, because if I'm going into a future where interracial marriage is even up for debate, I don't want you at my wedding. I don't want you there. If I travel out of state while on my period and my blood condition causes me to start hemorrhaging, and I happen to be in a state where women's health care is so strictly regulated that doctors feel like they can't interfere because any period-related bleeding could be a pregnancy and there's no interfering in that, and I bleed out and die because of the laws that are going to be left up to states' decisions, I don't want you at my funeral. If the Department of Education is defunded and my children can't go to school unless it's at a private institution that we cannot afford, and there's no way to get any assistance in affording this, I don't want you in my kids' lives. And that's just the beginning of it. So honestly, truly, if you voted for Trump, get out of my life.
Okay, some of you in MAGA are really losing your minds because a lot of people are cutting you off because of your support for Trump. And you're like trying to rationalize it. Well, if you're cutting me off because I supported Trump, then we weren't really friends. Yeah, people hung around with you and interacted with you and were there for you for 15, 20, 25 years of your life because they weren't really friends. No, what you showed them was that you were okay with white supremacy. You were okay with misogyny. You were okay with openly being anti-LGBTQ. You were okay with all of that. And then you try to rationalize your support for Trump through gas prices, eggs, whatever. When the fact of the matter is, Trump is your avatar. He speaks for your hatred. He hates who you hate. And people don't want to be around you in that toxic type mentality anymore. We're not cutting off friends because of who you voted for. We're cutting you off because of morality. We're cutting you off because we know we've come to that fork in the road where you've decided to go down that road of white supremacy, hatred, and violence. we decided we don't want to really be around people like you like that, because we don't share the same values. We don't share the same morals. It's not about a disagreement. You could disagree whether pineapples go on pizza, which they don't, or you can disagree about any other things. You cannot disagree about the morality of who you are as an individual. So you can keep rationalizing your support for white supremacy. You can keep rationalizing your support for hatred of women. You can rationalize your support for Trump any kind of way you want. But the fact is, you morally support a man who is morally bankrupt, and you want us to be accepting and normalizing your behavior. And we just refuse to normalize abnormal behavior, narcissism, racism, white supremacy. So go over to your MAGA camp, put on your MAGA gear. That's where you want to be. That's where you enjoy being. And be happy with yourselves. Be happy in that trailer park. Be happy around all the meth addicts. Be happy with the smell of Camel cigarettes. Be happy drinking Old Milwaukee beer. Be happy with that. That is what you want.
No, because my bad, my fault for thinking that it was common sense to not vote for the racist, misogynistic, narcissistic, homophobic 34-count convicted felon who was impeached twice. Who has essayed multiple victims, who has cheated on all of his wives, who has admitted that he is attracted to his own daughter, who wants to get rid of the DOE, Department of Education, who wants to get rid of FAFSA, who wants to defund public schools, who wants to ban certain books because they're talking about LGBTQ plus topics, who wants to get rid of LGBTQ plus rights and same-sex marriages, who wants to give immunity to police officers to further increase police brutality, who wants to have a violence day to lower crime rate, who does not believe in climate change, who won presidency twice when he ran against women, but only lost when he ran against a man. The list goes on, but I thought it was common sense not to vote for this man, instead to vote for the qualified woman. Oh, but there are reasons to vote for him, right? He's gonna help our economy. Okay, so when he was president, our economy was better because he was riding on the coattail of Obama's laws. Why are our taxes higher now? Because we are still under Trump's laws when he was president. Oh, but he's gonna give us a tax cut. Yes, he's gonna give a tax cut to the top 5%. The rest of us are gonna pay more taxes. Oh, but he's gonna put tariffs on imported goods. Yes, and who will pay for that? The consumer. Oh, but he's gonna give us cheaper gas. Well, excuse me for thinking that. Again, it is common sense to think that a woman's reproductive rights and access to basic health care is more important than cheaper gas. What's gonna happen when your niece or your daughter has an unplanned, unwanted, complicated pregnancy and she ends up bleeding out or dying from sepsis, but the doctors are too scared to help her because it's illegal? What's gonna happen when your wife or your girlfriend doesn't want to have sex with you because she doesn't want to get pregnant, but she can't get an abortion and she doesn't have access to contraceptives? Are you gonna grape her? But it's okay, because in America, rapists become president, right? It's not about politics anymore. It's about being a decent human being. And a lot of people are showing their true colors right now.
Are people really getting separated or divorced because of how they're voting? It doesn't make sense to me. I didn't marry my wife because she agrees with me on everything. We've actually had pretty diverse ways of thinking about things. I've always been more leaning to the right, and she's been more leaning to the left. Although, thanks to Kamala and all her shenanigans and everything that's been happening during this whole year, I think my wife is leaning more to the right, because the things that women are fighting for right now, like abortion and equal rights, it's all nonsense. So she's seeing that, and I think she's starting to kind of sit in the middle where I was. Now I'm leaning more to the right, and she does what she does. Like, I'm never going to try to convince her, you know, you have to vote for Trump. She just follows my lead as, you know, the wife in the house, and she trusts that I have really good judgment. That's why she stuck with me all these years, for 11 years now. And I said, I'm voting for Trump. And she said, all right, whatever, you know, we're going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and follow your lead, and I'm going to vote for Trump too. So she understands that I'm not just doing it because, like, you know, I don't know. Well, I'm thinking of our family and our family's future when I think about our vote. So that's the way it is. But even if she didn't want to vote for Trump and she wanted to vote for Kamala, I'd be totally fine with that. You know, I love the woman. She's an amazing mother. She's an awesome wife. She's everything I've ever dreamt of as a wife and a mother in my house. So, you know, if she wanted to vote differently, that's fine. And I don't think she ever had a problem with me trying to vote for Trump or leaning more to the right, because I have strong family values and I really care about, you know, our family. And that's pretty much my whole life, is just working and taking care of our family. So she trusts me on that end. I trust her to do her job, and we just work together. But I can't believe people are just really getting divorced or separated over political ideologies, because you shouldn't be marrying someone for that reason anyways. A woman should be marrying a man because he's a great leader and he's going to follow, you know, she's got someone to follow, and she knows he's going to make the best call for the family, and they're going to progress and grow as a family. And that's what her job is. And his job is just to stick to his purpose, grow as a family, protect, provide. That's what we do, right? So none of that really deals with political stuff. I don't know. The fact that women are divorcing their husbands over voting for Trump, it just goes to show you they were never really in it, you know, for the right reasons anyways. And they were probably on this new age stuff where, you know, we're going to split everything 50-50, and you know, whatever. I like to be the breadwinner of the family. If my wife starts, you know, she starts making money, I got to find a way to make more money, because I'm never going to slow down, you know. Always got to keep pushing. But this video's gone on long enough. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below.
So you know how there are those people who are breaking up with their boyfriends because their boyfriends voted for Trump, and everybody's like, oh, well, it's just politics, you know, like, you know, people can have differing opinions. No. Yes, people can have different opinions, but not when it comes to human rights. Like, different opinions when it comes to, like, pizza toppings, or, like, what's your favorite ice cream flavor, or, like, what's your favorite color. Like, different opinions, yeah, that's completely valid. Like, you can't be racist or sexist or homophobic and just be like, oh, well, it's just my opinion. Like, no, it's not an opinion. It's just, you're just being a bigot. I just don't understand why this is so hard to conceptualize. Like, why can't people just not be racist? Like, why can't people just not be homophobic? Like, why can't people just not be sexist? Like, it's really not that hard. So the people who are breaking up with their partners because their partners voted for Trump, I think it's valid, because it's not just about different opinions. It's not just about politics anymore. It's about a lot more.
They do not love you. They do not like you. They do not respect you. They saw your pain. They saw your fear, and they voted for the chance to be proximal or aligned with a power they will never have. Rural people, working class people, voted against their interests and against your life and your livelihood to have proximity to the power to dominate and oppress. I am so tired of hearing narratives that plead to ignorance. Narratives that say, well, they just don't understand. They just aren't educated. Please explain to me why the directionality of this ignorance always is tied to the coattails of patriarchy, white supremacy, and capitalism. Why are people always ignorant in the direction that would allow them to oppress? I need us to get very serious about protecting and understanding our own interests and solidarity. I need us to get very serious about divesting, refusing to share our sadness, our vulnerability, our stories, our fear with people who are intent on exploiting it. We need to understand in a very full and complete way that attempting to garner sympathy, empathy, or plead to the morals of an oppressive, unjust system is like trying to squeeze blood from a stone. Your husbands, your brothers, your coworkers, your friends that made this choice to vote this way knew that it would be harmful to you. They knew that they would be putting you and many others in danger, and they did it anyway. It is up to you to decide if that is a person with which you can trust your children, your body, your intimate life, yourself and your community with. It is up to you to seek community and solidarity to figure out how to resource yourself and others in whatever is about to come next. I am not here to catastrophize. I am not here to take on a fatalist point of view. The earth is fertile for solidarity work, for intra and extra community work. There are going to be people that need a lot of things. What I implore you, though, is to divest your time, your energy, your vulnerability wherever you can, and to not allow them to do this to you in the next 4 years. To not allow them to hijack your very existential need for safety and belonging every 4 years for what is essentially a bread and circus. I need you to take a moment and take a breath and refrain from finger pointing, from blaming the folks who didn't vote, from blaming the third-party voters, from blaming anyone except the entire context under which the United States is and has operated since its inception, in the way that every single American has the ability to either be a foot soldier for that vision or work in antagonism to it. There is a lot of work to be done. There is a lot of grieving to do. Luckily, we have generations of evidence that we can do the working and we can do the grieving at the same time. But only if we're able to stay near to each other, and only if we're able to stay focused. We will not be able to protect each other and the most vulnerable among us if we are still focused on trying to convince them.
So if you're following me on my page, you know that I have been actively talking to my husband about ending our 17-year marriage. But the events of the past week have made me think that maybe that's not a good idea. That this is the wrong time to go out there on my own with my kids, make myself a single mother. There's so much chaos and conflict and unknown out there that I shouldn't make any big moves. Being in my marriage is difficult and hard, and I'm very unhappy, but at least I know it. It's the devil that I know. But then a couple of days after the election, I think I was watching a video, where Trump was talking about dismantling the Department of Education. And I have 2 kids who have IEP, so I was emotional and upset about it. My husband had come home and he had asked me, what's wrong? And I told him nothing. I said, I'm fine, I'm just not feeling well. And then he walked off. And the reason why I didn't tell him about what I was really feeling is because I know that my husband is not a person that I would talk to about my emotions and feelings, because it's not safe. It would have turned into an argument about politics, or about how a woman shouldn't be president, or about conservative and libertarian and Joe Rogan and all this other shit. And my feelings would be cast aside, not meaningful or important. And that made me realize that my instinct was correct. I have to get out of here. This isn't a safe place for me, and it hasn't been a safe place for me for years. And even though I've done a pretty miraculous job keeping the marriage together, keeping the family together, in spite of my husband's effort to tear it down with his words, his actions, his indifference, this isn't the right place for me. I can't be the mother that I need to be. I can't be the protector that I need to be for my kids and myself in this environment. I know I can do it. I know I can protect myself. I know I can take care of myself. I've done it all along through this entire marriage. And I've done it while being undermined, while having somebody that's been against me and somebody who's tried to tear me down. That means if I'm free of that in the world, I can thrive. This is so different for me. I don't do this. I don't take risks and I don't take chances. This is going to be the first time in my life, really, that or the first time in many, many years that I'm going to take the biggest risk that I've ever taken. But I'm betting on somebody. I'm betting on someone who's come through for me every time, and that's been me.
Hi all, I just wanted to share something that I heard about how the US election is affecting couples. It just completely shocked me. So I was speaking to psychologists and I heard this story about a man and woman, husband and wife. They were in their late 30s, early 40s, based in California, met, dated, spent 2 years dating, got engaged, another year up to the wedding, got together, they had 2 children together, everything seemed to be going great, right? And then it comes around to the election. And then during this time, it quickly emerges that the husband is supporting the Republicans, while the wife is supporting the Democrats. They have quite an argument over this, quite a division. They go to couples therapy, they see experts, they do everything they can to try and sort it out. So this all sounds, you know, maybe it could be promising, but then at the end, they then decided that they were actually going to get divorced and end their relationship altogether. I was just completely shocked by that. I had not seen that coming at all.
If you're planning on leaving your Trump-voting husband, do it now, before no-fault divorce is illegal.
Alright folks, I really don't understand these MAGA Trump supporters, because he's coming here online and crying that his wife is leaving him after voting Trump. You know, before you even went to the ballot box, she told you, if you vote for Trump, we are done. She told you what she stands to lose if you vote for this administration. I'm sure you knew all that she was fighting for in women's rights and what she stood to lose when this administration actually would have won the election. Now, it's one thing for Trump to win the election, but it's another thing for him to win the election after her own husband actually voted for that administration. Now the wife has told him that, yeah, take your whole things out of the house. I don't want you no more. We are getting divorced. Why? Because we don't share the same values. Because you are not fighting for my own rights. You are not fighting for me. You do not share the same views as I do. And this guy is coming here online and crying to us that he's getting divorced by his own wife just because he voted Trump. Yeah, go find your whole fellow MAGA Trump supporter and marry that one. Because it's clear that you did not want to support your own wife. You are too much invested in this MAGA movement and invested in the Latino for Trump. Now you are finding out. It's the same story, guys, that we are seeing. So many men are coming here online and are being divorced by their wives just because they voted Trump. I mean, as we have seen in the videos, one of the person actually explaining this, it's not about voting Trump itself. It's about sharing the same values. It's about what you are consuming as a man. It's about your own ideology and how you view women and women's rights. And clearly this woman doesn't want to share the same bed, doesn't want to share the same house, doesn't want to be in a relationship with a man that is like that, who doesn't see the value in women. And yeah, you are finding out actually by her divorcing you. So guys, we've seen these stories. MAGAs are coming here, especially many men, and crying out in tears that they are getting dropped and divorced by their wives, their women, just because they voted for Trump. What do you think, guys? Do you think it's ethical for a woman to divorce his own husband just because they voted for another party? Or do you think it's unethical? Do you think the woman or the wife took it too far? Or do you think the husband should have listened and swallowed his own pride and actually supported his own wife, regardless of the fact that he was invested into, you know, the Republican Party or things of the sort? And I don't understand how these Latinos actually came in numbers and are supporting Trump administration, regardless of the fact that the policies that these administrations want to give and to bring is against their own interest. It's against their own interest. The mass deportation per se, you know, it's actually going to be affecting a lot of Latino immigrants. The denaturalization, you know, per se. Things like revoking citizenship by birth, regardless of the fact that you are born in the country. If your mother or your grandmother, they came illegally into the country. You know, these whole policies are going to be against Latinos. But still, just because you have that naturalization, just because you have that residency, just because you are the first generation of the Latino in your family born in the United States, then you vote against your whole community's interest. It doesn't make sense to me. And then later you come out here and you are crying here online that you're getting divorced by your wife after not even supporting her own values, her own beliefs, and her own women's rights. After seeing what she has at stake to lose if these policies from this administration come to, to be put in place. So guys, you saw things like Project 2025 and what they want to do with women exactly. How they want even to do things like even tracking women's periods. Things that are actually outrageous, and you still vote against your woman's or your wife's rights. Yeah, that's what you get for doing that. That's what you get actually for going behind her back and voting against her women's rights, against her own interest, regardless of the fact that she's your wife. So guys, I don't know what you think about this guy. Do you think that he's justified in his vote and his wife is just being paranoid, or do you think that he went too far? Let me know in the comment section as I continue bringing you these MAGA FAFO season videos that are trending online. Like the video, remember to subscribe for more videos, hit the notification bell so that you can be notified. As always guys, see you on the next episode.